Thanks to AI, now we can know what would Satan do if he wanted to make somebody unsuccessful. Let's uncover that in this episode.
Why?
Why?
Why? Why?
Find your why.
So it's a new podcast, new chapter, new episode,
New setup,
new equipment. There's a lot of new stuff going on. New big table. You kind of seem far away there, though.
super big.
Yeah, it's super big, but it allows us for the more room for the cameras. So I guess that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm super excited. So I'll try to keep my nerves under control. And there's a new co-host with me. There's Natalka, not Yulka, as usual. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really nice.
Actually, we could exchange places.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you wanted to be together.
Oh no, it's nice. It's nice. It's a new setup, so everything is new. So as long as you're comfortable, we are comfortable, right? That's it.
It
sounded like you wanted to be together. So I was
No,
just
hell no, don't get me wrong.
What do you mean hell no?
It's all good. It's all good, guys. It's all good.
Super rude.
he
for-
doesn't want to.
For the first episode on the new channel, I wanted to. Well, there are many topics that we can talk about, but there's this interesting thing that I came across the other day. Somebody asked ChatGPT what would he do if he were Satan, if he was a Satan, and what would he do to make somebody unsuccessful. Okay, and then ChatGPT went on to list 15 different ways that he would put into place to make somebody unsuccessful. Do you want to hear them?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear them?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the first way that if Satan wanted to make somebody unsuccessful would be feed self-sabotage, constantly make them question their abilities, second-guess decisions, and believe they are not good enough. No matter how much progress they make them believe that they will never be successful.
That makes
Okay.
a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that touches that doubt that we talked about many times. Like when you just get rid of the doubts, and when like we talk about logic, when the rapper Logic said, but actually Big Sean said it. I left the doubts and I'm all right. So
Yes, you cannot be successful and doubt yourself at the same time. It just doesn't work. It doesn't go together.
but doubt is a natural human emotion, I guess, like a natural thing that appears. Like, what do you do with it when you're not sure about something? Or I don't know. What's the difference between not being not sure and then doubting yourself?
I think doubting is like when you think you're not gonna get something or you're not good at something, and then you don't do it. You know, and doubting, and being unsure is like you don't know how it's gonna work out, but you're still doing it. I don't know. I guess that's the difference, but it's also like I guess kind of synonyms.
Yeah, yeah. Do you doubt yourself, Natalka?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times, but I also feel like it doesn't mean that you're not going to do something about it, like Julia said. I think doubt comes in many like forms, in many ways, in many situations, but
Yeah.
then what you do about it, like if I'm doubting if I am good enough to do, let's say, sales, then I'm going to go and try and see. But it doesn't mean I'm not doing something. It just means that maybe I'm going to have to try harder, or that maybe it might not be for me at the end of the day, but then I still like, for me, it doesn't mean that I stop doing it. Like
Yeah.
I doubt myself and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
that's your mindset. But
No,
feel
but I feel like doubt
is-
by definition is when you're not sure how it's gonna go. But I don't
Okay.
think doubt it's like equals abandoning the issue or abandoning the situation or like the skill that you want to learn or whatever. I don't think that's that. I think you can, or maybe you can be preparing for something, and then in the process of doing that, you're doubting yourself if you're good enough to do it, but still, there is this like doing point. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
Yeah, I feel like counterpart to doubt would be like sometimes you don't have skill, but you have the certainty or confidence that you have capacity to learn the skill,
and
maybe.
ability, let's say.
Right?
Yeah,
And like
so
this-
you're.
This belief
No,
that
but like if you're like an average person doubting yourself, right? And you're self-sabotaging yourself, you think you're not good enough. I don't think you're gonna do much stuff,
okay.
Because if someone is at a certain point in their life and with their mindset, obviously we're gonna doubt ourselves at times, but then we're still gonna push through.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like, I guess, like let's say an average person, like they're downing themselves. Okay, like this is not gonna work out. Let me not risk it. Let me
Yeah.
not fail.
Yeah,
Would you
yeah,
think
yeah.
it's the same as lacking self-confidence or something?
I
Or
think
is
so,
it,
but I
would
also
it be
heard
synonym?
many times I heard from like super successful people. They said they have like delusional belief in themselves. So like delusional, being delusional, like average person, as you said, average people that doubts themselves and they like, okay, I guess I just shouldn't do it. And then
Yeah.
the counterpart to it, the super successful person would be like, you look at them like, this is, there's no way it's gonna work. There's no way,
Yeah.
right? And he's like, no, you'll see it's gonna work. So I guess yeah, like I believe that like there's you create your own life and you create your reality. So like if you're delusionally confident, obviously there are probably situations where it can go wrong for you, but yeah, I think it's important.
Yes, it can go wrong for you, but then like you're so in love with yourself, you can say,
Mm,
that it's not gonna stop you.
yeah,
That's why successful people can, go through failures and
yeah,
still be okay and still try again.
yeah,
While other people, when they fail, or if they even see the possibility of failing, they just don't start in the
yeah.
first place. And like there's 100%, like 100%, what's it called, like sureness.
Certainty.
Certainty, yes, certainty that you're gonna fail if you won't try.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah,
For
but then this all of this delusional belief and all of that stuff, it still comes from a place of doubt because you had to doubt yourself one day to be able to now be delusionally, okay with what you're gonna do and delusionally certain that you're going to do it. So I still feel like it comes from the place of doubt. You had to doubt yourself one day to then make a decision that I won't do it anymore.
yeah, yeah.
I will
yeah.
just flip the page and then I will be extreme, but on the other side of the page.
Yeah.
So not on the
Yeah.
side of doubting, but on the side of being delusionally sure of myself.
So it
Yeah.
all comes down to a decision. Right?
Yeah.
For
I'm
sure.
not gonna feel this way again.
Yeah, decision. And yeah, in my mind, a lot of things switched when I decided. I have when I came to the realization that I have capacity to learn. Like maybe I don't know many things when it comes to trying new things, but like I know I can learn, and it's no problem for me to learn. So yeah, that's what changed. And I still have this line in my mind so many times. Like I left the doubts and I'm all right. Like I don't know. I think about it a
That's
lot.
actually so nice.
Like
That's
things,
actually
just
so
trying
nice.
to think about what do we mean like live the doubt? Because life is so short. Why would you like spend your time on doubting yourself?
Exactly, and that's that's.
It
super-
also touches on second guessing. What do we think about that? Why do you think people second guess themselves? Like, why do you think we make a decision, but then we try to go back on it, and then we rethink it again, and then we're not sure if we did the right thing, and then we go back and we try to redo it, and then why do you think people do that?
Because we don't want to fail. And as
Yeah.
you said before, I think like perfectionism is the enemy of success, right? And we want to be perfect all the time because we're sure if we do something perfectly, it's gonna work out. But if we don't do it perfectly, then maybe it might not work out.
So
I
then, if
think-
your first choice or your first take on something was not perfect, you would say, so then that's why you would second guess it and try to go back and make it perfect.
Yes, maybe it's like, oh, maybe I could do it better, right? But we know that we shouldn't wait for when we're perfect. We should just do stuff, and then we're gonna get better, doing it. So that's what I would say. And coming back to your question is because we don't want to fail. We're scared
Yeah.
of failing.
Yeah, and for me also, like I remember, I still have in my mind when you said like when you doubt or you you said something about lack of belief in God, right? When it's like offense to God or something like that. Remember
Worry
that?
is an
Worry,
insult
right,
to
right,
God.
right. Worry. So I think about that in terms of when I second guess my decisions, and I'm like, okay, I was confident with that decision at that time, or even if I wasn't, I made that decision still. So it came from somewhere. It came from my intuition, from the universe, but also from God. So I'm trying now to reframe it and put it so, okay, I made this decision. Let's make friends with it. Let's just trust in the process. For me, it's also, yeah, in many situations in personal life, like now I'm going through it kind of. It's like I decided to trust the process. So maybe I'm not comfortable right now, but it's a part of the process. So it's gonna work out at the end. I put my trust into that, in the process and God and myself making that decision in the past,
Yeah, but look how disturbing it is. Like once, you've made a decision once, couple of weeks, months, years ago, then you go back and you try second guessing it. So you're technically reliving it. You're
Yeah.
reliving all of the thoughts, all of the processes. So you're putting yourself back into it, even though you can't do anything about it anymore.
Right,
because
right.
the second guessing, if it could fix stuff, like if you could actually go back in time and then change your decision, that would make sense. Like you can second guess, you can rethink it, do it all over again. But then
Yeah.
look what we did, what our minds do to us, that you think, okay, I made a decision 3 months ago, but maybe I could have. maybe I should have. Maybe if
Yes.
I, and
Yeah.
maybe if,
What if,
if.
what if,
Yeah.
what if,
Yeah,
right?
so
Yeah.
what's been like really freeing to me in that concept is what I've heard. You did the best you could with the knowledge you had at the time,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Before you didn't have the knowledge you have now, therefore it would have been impossible for you to make the decision you would have made now, and I find this like really freeing.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Yeah, it's just you make that decision, like just,
Yeah.
move on, find another thing, Maybe there's something in it that, I don't know, makes you question your decision, but yeah, in most cases it's not a good thing. It's Satan. ChatGPT says it's Satan coming,
Yeah.
sipping into your life and trying to, to make you second guess yourself. So that's not a good one.
Yeah, so the first point was self-sabotage, was self-doubt, and what else was it?
Second guessing
Second guessing,
and the belief that
you're not good enough. No matter
Yeah,
how
so
much progress you make,
connected.
you're not good enough.
Yeah,
mhm,
okay.
no matter how
Yeah.
much progress you make, you won't be successful.
Yeah, you're
So
not good enough.
basically taking away your like self-image.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Self-esteem,
Yeah,
like
so like sabotaging yourself.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you're not good enough to start. You don't have knowledge to
Yeah.
start. You don't have knowledge to continue.
And even
like,
once you start, you think like you can't continue, and then
Yeah.
when you continue, you think you're not gonna continue for much
Yeah.
longer, and then when you continue for much longer, you think you're not gonna last, and so on
Mhm.
and so on.
But it is super hard, right, to
Yeah.
be in that place as a person.
Yeah.
to be in that place of second guessing.
Yeah.
and
There was
that,
a
yeah.
name for it. That whatever you do, you don't think you will be successful. We
Yeah,
talked about this on Finance Week. Remember? I don't know what was the name of it.
Yeah.
But okay,
It'll
never
come to
mind.
me. Yeah, it'll come to
Yeah.
us at some point.
We'll come back. Okay.
The second one.
Next one, we have procrastination. Always convince them that they can do it later or that there is no rush. Keep them stuck in a cycle of tomorrow. They will never actually take action.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Tak, so it's supposed to be so.
Oh,
not
it's supposed
W.
to be so.
Yeah,
That's
so
why I
they,
skipped it.
Yeah. So they never.
So they never actually take action.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep them stuck in a cycle of tomorrow.
That's a powerful
So
one.
they
yo.
never actually take action. The cycle of tomorrow.
I've got goosebumps.
Yeah. Cycle of tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow. I'll just do it tomorrow. And sales. Like I had a little adventure in like MLMs, and they had this thing. And actually, that's what I kind of brought out from this environment is this urgency. Like they just act in urgency. Obviously, don't act stupidly and like too quickly or whatever, but like be urgent with your stuff. And I think also like when you think about what is intelligence is the speed of learning. Like how quickly can you adapt the new knowledge, new facts, new information, So if let's say you start at sales, Alex Hormozy talked about, you started sales and I give you script. So you make a call, you don't use the script. Well, so you just start, you have no script. So you call the person, no script, you didn't sell anything. You call again, you didn't sell, because you don't have the script. Then I give you the script. And then how long it will take you to actually implement the script, that's how fast you're learning, right? So are you gonna start right away, or are you gonna wait, or are you gonna, procrastinate that stuff, or are you gonna put it off in time, and like how quickly are you gonna learn? So that's why, for example, I was impressed when I said I had this idea with recording that course online, right? Recording that digital course. And I said, okay, let's meet this week. Let's do it right now. And I was like, yeah, that's, but that's kind of, Patrick but David wrote this in his book, right? I'm reading this book now, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And he's writing, you can predict how successful somebody be by the speed and information. Right, so how quickly they will act if you give them information, how quickly they will implement it, right? How quickly they will act. That's the dog is running around. I hope the mic is not picking that, man. Shabby, I beg you relax. I beg you relax, man. She's just excited. Just excited with the. Yeah.
Stop! Hey.
Yeah, just very excited with the mic.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's just the speed of information, the
Don't worry.
speed at which you implement the new information is like the predicting factor of somebody's success. And I agree with that, Like people put off their things until tomorrow, until the tomorrowland, and it's just not good. So the faster you start, Andrew Tate talked about it as well many times, like how quickly you implement and you adjust, and how quickly you do the things you said you're gonna do, right? How quick you do it. That's very important, especially now as well. You have so many things, but yeah, it was always true, and I agree with it. Yeah, The procrastination is a killer, you know. Obviously, sometimes you need to take time. Well, we talked about during Finance Week. Gandhi said, right? Like the biggest illusion is that people think they have time. Like, do you
That's
really though?
powerful.
Right? And I said it on like the last TikTok. Like, you have if you're lucky, you have 4,000 weeks. What is 4,000 weeks?
4,000 weeks is how many years?
It's like 70 something. It's
Okay.
like average
Yeah,
lifespan
kind
of a
of a
human
person.
being, you know. So 4,000 weeks, and like most of us, obviously, I'm almost 30, so I have like I don't know, like what, like 2,000, almost 2,000 weeks, you know, went by, like 1,007 or 800, something like that, you know. So, you know, like you spend some of your time being a kid, you don't even remember what's up. Then
Yeah.
you spend a big part of your life being an old person, and if you're lucky and if you're healthy, you can do something with it. But you know, if you're like in 70s, 80s, you know, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you only have so much time, man. Don't fucking lose it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
And then
powerful.
speaking about, procrastination, more down to earth kind of, take on that. I feel like, what I'm always telling myself whenever I have something I don't want to do, to like finish or whatever. And I'm a master of procrastination in my head. I tell myself, okay, this is not that like needed. I can do it tomorrow. I can do it next week. I can do it whenever. And then, that thought comes to my mind and it tells me that excuses only make today easier, but tomorrow harder. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, do I want to have a harder tomorrow? Like, do I want to just sit on my ass today and then tomorrow wake up and I don't know how I'm going to be feeling? Like, am I going to have a headache or not? Or am I going to have a lot of stuff to do?
Yeah.
So do I want to like set myself up for having a worse, harder tomorrow, or do I just want to get it out of the way today? So it makes me sometimes do just way more than I have to, but I really need to get it out of the way, so then tomorrow I can take on more of the other stuff, and not be dragging what I have to do, like what I had to do a week or month ago with me every day from day to day, because it's not important enough.
Yeah, it adds up, right? It adds
Yeah.
up, and
Yeah, and when it piles up, it becomes very heavy.
right,
to carry.
yeah, exactly. Things add up, and when days go by, and it's not a good place to be. So yeah, it's just another way of Satan's interrupting your life is procrastination. So number 3 is distractions. Keep them busy with distractions, whether it's a social media, mindless entertainment, or unimportant tasks. Prevent them from focusing on what truly matters. You know? So first of all, we need to know what truly matters for us, so that comes down
That's the
to
hard part.
that's
the
very
to
hard
find your
part.
why,
Yeah,
but it's,
very
like,
hard, very
crucial.
hard. So there's this saying, rich people buy time, lazy people buy distractions, ambitious people buy skills, and poor people, or is it poor people buy distractions and lazy people, something like that. So one of those people is buying distractions, lazy or poor. And I think it was poor, and lazy people, I don't remember. Alex Hormozy said it. I also put it in one of our stories on Instagram. And it's true, but the question is, what are the distractions for? Like, for all of us now, it could be social media, like mindless scrolling.
I think everything is a distraction, and what you're talking about is also consumptionism. Like, how much
Correct.
are we consuming
Yeah.
and not creating?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem, because
Yeah.
what we do from the minute we wake up, we go on our phones.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to do it, you will do it because somebody will text you, you will get a notification from Instagram,
Yeah.
and then you just want to check this one, but then you keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So you keep like taking this information, liking it, consuming it, instead of like sitting down and creating your own.
Yeah.
Now the same with like all of those mindless, shopping, or like, anything that's like that we do as humans, because what? Because you want this dopamine rush that
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
lasts 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 hour, up until you bring it home and then you see that you have 5 the same sweaters.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do with it? So I think it's the biggest problem is that because social media is not bad at all. Like, if you're creating on social media, giving out the value, like
Yeah.
building your business, whatever, on social media, then like keep scrolling, no
Yeah.
problem. Scroll, interact, engage, but know what you're doing it for.
Yeah, and how long you're doing it as well. I guess, like,
Exactly.
how much time you spend on it. Like, I have part of my day dedicated to dumb scrolling. It's
Really?
just, it's like I know I can spend like 10 to 15 minutes a day, and I'm cool with it because I always see
Yeah.
something funny, or
Yeah.
mostly on my profile there's like funny things, pranks, right, and like animals, and I love it. I don't know, like, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. It's super inspiring. It's super great.
But then if it makes you laugh as well, and if it makes you laugh as well, and it gives you a break,
Yeah.
then then I think it's just nice and useful.
Yeah, but it's not majority of my day. It's different for everyone. It's good to find some time for some ways to like disconnect, I guess, in a way. But yeah, I don't know. I think like everybody should just find something for themselves. But as you said, it's a good point. Like, don't spend most of your time just consuming, because we weren't, as human beings, we weren't designed to consume all the time.
Yeah.
We were designed to, create as much as we consume, or even more probably.
Yeah. And now, it's turned around. Now we're consuming more than we're creating, or we're consuming only because we
Yeah.
do not create.
It's so easy. Like they made it so convenient to consume. Like if you think about Netflix, Netflix
of
just
course.
episode after episode. You don't even have to like change the episode.
Yeah,
they
it
do
does it for you.
right? So it's made so easy, and they put new shows all the time. Like I have so many friends that tell me, "Oh, you should watch this one, you should watch this one." But if I spent all my time watching this stuff, I wouldn't do nothing. It's so many things to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and there's
But then
also
the
so
social
many there's so many streaming services as
Yeah.
well. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, but then you have the social standard. Let's say that if you haven't watched that, it's like, who are you?
Right.
What are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
there's those, or some of those series or movies that, they're saying, oh, you remember in blah, blah, blah. And you say, oh, no, I haven't watched it. They're like, oh, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah, but
see,
then
so it's like the culture of like, consumption.
yeah, it's true. But then if somebody says that to me, like, who are you? Then it's like, fuck those people, man. Like, who are you? Like, I ain't seen some movie. Then okay, like.
Yeah.
That's not important, man. That's not what's important. So, but the social circle is also important. Who you surround yourself with, because some people will
Yeah.
definitely like, point their fingers at you, like, oh, you haven't seen that show. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Go
Okay.
away.
Go away. Yeah,
Just
just
go
disappear.
And it brings us to number 4,
4.
which says negative people. Surround them with toxic people who are constantly bringing them down, making them feel small, or tell them that their dreams are unrealistic. Under disguise of realism, discourage them from pursuing what they truly want in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, surround them
Social
with toxic.
environment. The
Toxic people.
environment.
So again, it's what we've talked about, I think, in the past, that, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
Right? But not only the friends, we discussed it, that it's, maybe not exactly the friends, it's the
The-
people that you spend the most time with.
And that you're influenced by.
And that you're
Yeah.
influenced by. So
Mhm.
rather than, just being friends. Because when you think about it, I think I have a lot of friends that I like them. Like, it's nice having time, spending time with them and having, those hangouts together, whatever. But I am not influenced by them. Like, I see what they're doing and I don't like some of the stuff, but I'm not feeling that, whatever they do, whatever they say, it will change me in any way, or it will influence my thinking.
Okay.
Like, I really do. Like, I think it's a real thing. I don't know how are you guys, but of course I have people that will influence me, and I know that, when I'm gonna go out with them or have a conversation, that might change something. But then I have some people that I just like, for like, talking,
just for
spending
entertainment,
time, like
for spending
entertainment,
time.
playing those board games, doing all of the stuff that we do. But then, their beliefs or like their personalities, they don't influence me.
Yeah, and I have a perfect Bible reference for that, because I've been like doing some research, and it said that Jesus, right, he was spending time with sinners. He would be having dinner with sinners, but it didn't mean that he would become one. Like, it didn't mean he became a sinner.
Right.
So it's possible for us to spend time with, for example, people who don't have the same vision as we do, and not be influenced by them.
For sure.
Right? So it's
Yeah, I
not
think
who
it's-
you surround yourself with
It's
that
who-
much, it's who you are influenced by.
Or you let yourself be influenced by.
Who you let yourself be influenced by.
Yeah. No, it's.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's true, but with me, I feel like I'm very susceptible to that. My mind is susceptible to people who are around me. So I think now my people in my circle, it's mostly people that like if they call me, because like to be honest, like physically, I spend most of my time at work. So like with students or with you guys, really.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
I don't really have that many people outside of that circle. I do have some, but not that many. And if I do talk to them, like I call to my friend like Grzegorz, what's up, bro, in London. Like he's a great guy, so I don't mind being influenced by him. He's like super smart and very ambitious, so that's great. And other than that, I don't really like mess with anybody else. I think like I
Well, that's good.
don't have
keep
that.
your circle
Also
small,
obviously
yeah.
like my friend Bart, who just who's back to Poland. Like we talk a lot actually, so that's cool. But he's also like super smart, so no problem. So yeah, I don't really have like also people who are like I wouldn't like to be influenced by them because they're like dumb or whatever. I don't think so.
I don't think they have to be dumb. They just have to
No,
be
not
different than you
yeah,
are. You know?
definitely not like ambitious. They don't want
Yeah.
they want different things or whatever. But still, like there's also always some ideas that we can, bounce off of each other. So yeah,
And when I'm thinking about it, like we've been in a lot of different circles, like a lot of different groups of friends with a lot of different like ambitions, life standards and stuff. But when I'm thinking about those ones who are like super smart, like you said, or ambitious and stuff, like it's great to be surrounded by them. But sometimes I need to go to not so ambitious ones. Because it makes me tired to like hang out only with people who are super smart, ambitious on a high note all the time, because I feel like sometimes we as human we just need a break, and you just need to look at the other people who have different priorities, do different stuff, which doesn't mean they're like wrong, they're just different.
yeah,
And
no,
you can just chill out.
totally.
Yeah, you can just chill out and then think that okay, I don't have to.
But it's like I'm in this
You
point.
always laugh a lot. You have
Yeah.
a
No, for
and
sure.
it's
But
just so funny,
I had like much broader, I guess, like circle of people. But now I'm at the point where obviously a lot of my friends who are similar age to me, they got married, or most of them now they're getting kids and stuff, because like obviously being 29, so we have people are getting people are doing this stuff now. So some of my friends that I think of, we just don't really talk that much because like they have wife and a kid, so. We just you don't throw shit that often, but it's
like
cool.
different priorities.
Yeah,
right?
just things
Obviously.
changed. They went their way, and I went my way. But we still, we can still talk, I guess. But just there's not that much room for that, Just
And that's completely normal.
that is
and
normal.
okay.
Yeah.
I think
So life changes, climate changes, weather changes.
Yeah,
Okay,
That's
what
it.
was the number 5?
Number 5, it's fear of failure. Make them so afraid of failing that they never take a risk. Try new things or start new things. The fear itself becomes the prison that holds them back.
Yes, and a lot of people are like imprisoned in their
My
own
God.
minds.
Yep.
And it's just terrible.
It's like it's perfect. Like it just stops you. The fear itself becomes the prison. Like you're always behind the bars of there's always an excuse, there's always a reason why not to try something, and it's all kind of like the surface for that fear, that holds you there.
Sometimes, as we've talked before, the excuses are valid.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So if we're not, I guess if we don't have our strong why and we've got like valid excuses and we are scared of failing, like we're terrified of failing, we're not gonna do much.
Yeah.
And that's
But how to deal with fear?
With fear, you have to collaborate with it. I had a conversation today.
Okay, say more. What do you mean you have to collaborate with it?
I had a conversation today. I don't know how to. Anxiety, you have to.
You guys need to translate that for yourself, man. It's Polish thing. Yeah, I don't know. There's lęk and strach, right? And there's a different like psychological concepts because
because there's like, let's say anxiety and then fear.
And then fear, right?
And then anxiety is something.
So lęk would be something made up in your head. It's something. Yeah. So that's
that
psychological.
You're not really sure what it is.
Yeah.
Like
it's
you know
made
that
up.
you're having anxiety over something, but you can't identify
100%.
like
and
the
then
trigger.
Fear is actual thing.
Yeah, and then fear is the actual thing that you can identify. You can know like what the reason is behind it, and then anxiety you should like work with and defeat. Like you should try to like. It doesn't work in English, but you should defeat. You should try to get better, overcome your anxiety, overcome it. While with fear, you should collaborate, work together with your fear. So then. Because what the lady told me is that whenever we have fear, we know what we're scared of. Let's say you don't have your bills paid yet. So you're scared. This is fear that if I don't pay it, they will, I will have real consequences of that. So then if you collaborate with this fear rather than running from it, then you will get those bills paid.
Yeah,
like
it can be your motivation, right? It can push you.
And it should tell you what to take care of.
Okay.
Like what's the important stuff that really will, will make a difference.
Okay.
Even if it's not the bills, maybe if it's like, I don't know, fear of, breaking up or losing something, you should do something for that not to happen.
Okay.
So then you
it tells you
yourself.
what you should act on.
Exactly. So with fear, you should like he should be your friend, like this guy that gives you advice to tell you what to work on, what to act on, like what's something that might disturb you. So that should be the fear, whereas anxiety should be something that we try to overcome. Like we try to get over it, but fear we should work with, because once people run from things they fear, So like from, those unpaid bills or this like breakup or this, loneliness, whatever, they just get deeper and deeper into the cycle of getting it, of being in it, So this fear is gonna chase you, you're gonna run away, and then something else is gonna add up. So there's gonna be double fear chasing you, and then triple, and then quadruple, and so on and so on. So then, so anxiety, overcome fear, work with, collaborate with.
So maybe fear could also be like a thing that alerts you and tells you what to change, what to heal.
Exactly, and what to work with, right? Not against, not around, not like whatever with. That was very powerful today. Like, what's the difference between this anxiety and fear?
That's very interesting, because I remember once on the podcast we talked about jealousy. And we said that jealousy was... Peter, help me out over here. What did we say about the jealousy? Because I remember...
What do you mean?
Okay, we have to cut this.
Sorry, bo się tak pulsowało. What did we say about jealousy?
Yes, so we said that fear, we agreed that fear can help us detect things that we need to heal and work on. But we also said before, I think, about the jealousy. So if we're jealous of something... if we're just of something, it's I don't quite remember, but I remember it was really, really powerful.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
No.
I'm gonna have to look back.
Yeah, we'll look back into it. Yeah.
Go back with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. But yeah, I love that what you said about the difference between lęk and strach, so like fear and anxiety or whatever. There was something else, but I lost it, so we can move on, I guess, to the next one.
Okay. So number 6 would be perfectionism. And I can see. Convince them that nothing is ever good enough. Make them endlessly edit, refine, overthink. Prevent them from ever finishing anything or feeling satisfied with their efforts.
Perfectionism is definitely a killer. Like it's an enemy to many. To just your progress and to achievement, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, imagine if every and each one of us wanted to do everything perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, would we do anything?
We would have never started the podcast.
Like,
first of all,
companies would never have been started. Like like if you had a perfect business plan, like perfect amount of money, perfect management, perfect everything, like you would never start the company if you were waiting for that.
I would have never started teaching English too, because like I would have need to have like I don't know. Like a courses or
we would never even be born.
Yeah.
Like really? No, really, because you know why? I just thought about it. If my mom waited for a perfect time.
Oh, that's true.
Or my father or your father or our mom, let's say.
Yeah.
So like what? Then what? Then there would never come a perfect time.
That's so true.
And like perfect circumstances, perfect baby room, perfect house, perfect relationship, perfect place in her life,
And perfect, what is perfect? Like it's just some arbitrary set of qualities that doesn't
I think
even
it's without
exist.
faults, without like, I don't know, without anything negative.
I think you're right. Without faults, it's perfection.
Yeah,
no
so
faults.
it's like.
But you can always find something.
But
like
no,
you can always find
imperfection.
this
Because if it was perfect,
then there would be nothing. That's why it's never perfect.
Right. That's why it's a big enemy, because it's never perfect.
Yeah, it will never be.
In my ebook that like we wrote for the academy, it was about habits, and like we said, do not wait for the perfect time, because it's just not gonna come.
Yeah.
Right. So that's also what we talked about in the beginning. Like if you're gonna wait, if you're gonna wanna do everything perfectly, you're just not gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
So
You will never
have to
start.
Be comfortable. Yeah, you have to be comfortable with the possibility of you failing, with the possibility of you looking stupid, with the possibility of you, let's say, not getting what you would want to get, and then still do it. Yeah.
100%. So don't be a perfectionist. But it's a big thing. I think it's a quite common phenomena, perfectionism among people. So just don't do it, kids.
Yeah, it's damaging.
Definitely damaging. Okay, moving on to number 7, being isolation. Encourage them to withdraw from others, making them feel like they are alone in their struggles or that no one truly cares or understands. Remove their support network so that they don't have people to turn to for encouragement or advice. And I'm sorry for smiling, but I'm so excited about the new microphone. I can't help it. It's so cool. But I don't know, COVID comes to my head, like the social experiment that I think somebody did on us, and like just
Do you
to
think
see.
it was a social
I don't know. Listen. There's many things I think about that. I don't think there's one truth to it, but definitely so many people felt isolated at that time, and it was it kind of goes until now. I think that I saw some statistics. There's so many, I think like 54% of men in Poland under the age of 24, they feel like isolation, or they feel, lonely or whatever. So, well, it's an aftermath of the digital era. It's the aftermath of just the social and economic changes. And some people probably obviously feel better alone or being by themselves than others, like, being introvert or extrovert. When you're introverts, you're cool, well, for longer than the extrovert, but nobody's okay being by themselves, right? Benjamin just got excited. The worst kind of thing you can do to a person is throw them to an isolation cell, right? For
Yeah.
nobody could do that. If in prison, the worst punishment is to be in a small little room by yourself for like 2 weeks. You go crazy,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we need people, and
Yeah.
as much as we probably would not want to need people, we do, right? And there's nothing more to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to bounce the idea off. We need to, yeah, like Jordan Peterson talks about it. You give you outsource your mental health to other people. You can't judge that by yourself, because like now we are in this era that obviously do it by yourself, focus on yourself, and it's great. But yeah, like also other people like will tell you if you're doing okay or if you're going off the rails, right?
Yeah.
Obviously you need to be careful with that, but there is a reason that we all can understand each other. And if I say I feel sad, you know what I mean. Like, I don't have to explain you what sadness is. You know exactly what I mean. So there must be a reason. Like, we are, I don't know, in my head we are all kind of, I'm a believer in the theory. I don't just believe, like, I know it's true. Like, we are all just connected consciousness, just separated into different bodies or whatever. But yeah, it's like all big part of something huge. Like, as
Yeah.
human consciousness and our subconscious, and just, it's, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What do we do? Number 8, we have overload them. So overwhelm them with too many tasks and responsibilities so that they can't focus on what's really important. Make them feel like they are drowning in their work with no time to actually push towards their big goals.
Overload them. I love
Overload.
that. Like, you can see that so much in a place like Warsaw, where people have no time for nothing.
Yeah, they're always rushing.
Always rushing,
They're
always in
always
rush.
mad or
Always,
always
yeah.
angry, irritated. It's just no way to live.
So many students, they have like a small homework or whatever. Not to offend anyone, but like, there's like, oh, I didn't have time. Didn't have time to what? Like, revise 2 words? Are you joking? Well, I mean, I get it, because like sometimes it feels like that, like you have no time. It's obviously comes down to your time management skills and whatever, and management. But really managing yourself, you can't manage time. You can manage yourself in time, rather.
Oh yeah. That's
But
nice actually.
yeah, like you can't manage time. Like, but you can manage yourself, but it's still hard. Like, there's so many things to do, and things are super expensive, and you have to go to work, you have to get to work, you have to come back from work, prepare food, do the laundry, do this, all the chores that you have to do, and yeah, it's overloading, I guess. And people feel it. Sometimes I feel it too, but I try not to get overwhelmed. I try not to do overwhelmed. Like Tom Bilyeu said, I don't do overwhelmed. I try to incorporate those like mental tricks in my head, like don't do tired, don't do overwhelmed. It just, I don't operate within those definitions. I try to adapt that. But yeah, it's one of the ways that Satan would cripple into your life, overwhelm you.
Yes, but also sometimes I feel like our mind plays tricks on us because sometimes we feel like super overwhelmed with all that we have to do. But then if we actually sit down and, for example, list all of the things, it would really, for example, like one task would really take us 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But because it has been piling up for so long, it just feels so heavy.
Yeah.
So therefore we feel overwhelmed, we feel tired, we don't want to do it. And it just adds up, right?
Yeah, it connects back to procrastination, and then the excuses that we make.
Yes, the
That I'll do it tomorrow, and then that causes us to feel overwhelmed, because then even though it's a small thing, but it's a thing that you were supposed to do 5 days ago.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're 5 days behind, because that was, even if it was like 10-minute task, it was supposed to be done like that time ago, so like 5 days ago. So then you feel like you're 5 days behind, plus you're another 4 days behind, plus 3 days behind. So like you're sad, yeah, it's
Yes.
piling up, and then yeah, it's a trick that we feel we're overwhelmed, but are we actually?
Yeah, I think it's called dysfunctional freeze, where you're at the place in your life where like you're functioning, but you cannot function that well, I guess. You cannot be productive, but not because you can't, because like you're sick or something. Like your mind doesn't let you, because for example, you've been so stressed for so long, or you've been so overworked that right now, even for example, checking a couple of emails just seems like the biggest job for you, and that like you just don't have the energy to do it.
Okay.
And I think it's called dysfunctional freeze, and how you deal with that is by resting properly.
Yeah.
So for example, if people say that, oh, like I'm gonna, like, let's say chill for a bit, but then they're still worrying about all of the stuff that they have to do, or yeah, if they're still worrying, right, or thinking about their work, or like whatever, that's not like contributing to them resting. It's not like it doesn't work, you
It's,
know.
but as you said, the people should like properly rest, and
Yeah.
I know the kind of people you talk about, right? When they feel like checking emails too much, they don't know how to like rest properly.
Yeah,
That's the big
yeah.
problem. They actually don't know how to chill out, because as soon as they like try to chill, as you said, there is that little trrr in your
Yeah,
head, like
yeah.
you should do this, you should do that. There's the blame, shame, and all that
Yeah, and
stuff.
they're like in the go mode all the
Yeah,
time.
Yeah,
But
so the
yeah.
it's
question is, how do
impossible
you
to
do
be in that
that?
and still be productive,
Yeah,
right?
so
Yeah.
how exactly? So if you have all of those things piled up, right? And then how do you rest? Because I know that you should do that, but from my perspective, I'm just like thinking, how could I rest? Like, how could I take a day off or something, or even have a good night's sleep, or like watch Netflix for one day because I want to reset, or like, go meditate or whatever. I don't think I would be able to if, like you said, if I knew I had all of that stuff, I'm not sure how can you do it. Like,
I
how can you
think
stop
I
your mind
have-
from overthinking, being in go mode? Like, how can you do it? Like,
I think I have like the perfect solution. You put rest time in your calendar, in your to-do list for the day.
yeah, that could work if you have a to-do list for one day, I think. But if you have things that you've been procrastinating on, that that piled up, then like you're already behind on those things. So it's not a today's to-do list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but okay, so let's say you've got a lot of things that you're behind on,
Yeah.
right? I think that's what I do when I have like a lot of stuff to do that I hadn't done before. I just list all of them, and then, for example, I say, okay, then I'm gonna do these three. So first of all, I think it's called something, but I don't remember. So you should
Yeah.
list the things and then say which one is important and is a priority, which one is important, which things are important but aren't a priority, and then which
It's like a
things-
Pomodoro or something
Yes.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
No,
think, right?
Pomodoro
Or
is
maybe
the
No,
some-
Pomodoro is the time that
It's
Okay,
how you
okay.
should
Oh,
study.
time, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But there's, yeah. But what you said, I heard about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and then there is things that are important. No, sorry. I think it's important but not a priority, and then not important and not a priority, something like that. So then the things that are not important and not a priority, you should just cross them off. Like, you should throw them out. You should do the things that are important and a priority first, obviously. So then I would probably, for example, list these 3 things that I would do today, then another 3 things I'm gonna do the next day, right? And if you're struggling with rest, I really suggest that you, for example, put an hour of, let's say, watching your favorite show in your calendar during your workday.
It's interesting.
That's what my dad does.
For me, I heard about all those techniques, and for my problems, this is not my problem. I just don't do it because for me, it seems like, first of all, this is another task that I have to do. I have to decide which one is important, which one is a priority, which one I don't have to worry about that much. So it seems like another hustle. So I try to do it, but I hate it. I'm a more of an intuitive kind of guy. So maybe that's for people who are similar to me. So my personality is like, I have just intuition. So like I feel I should do something. Obviously, I have things. Sometimes I list them off. I used to do that, but now I just kind of work on intuition. So I know I need to do this, and that, and yeah, if I do it, I just have peace within. I don't have to like cross it out. I don't have to prioritize stuff. I don't know. Like if I have many things, I list them off. Like I put them on like in order, right? So it's easier for me to see visually what I have to do. And now with like social media, so we have like I don't know 4 or 5 TikTok accounts or Instagram and this and that. It really helped me to list them off and put them in order. I have to do this. I have to do that. Divide them into categories. Cool. But yeah, for the most time, I don't do these things because this just seem like another hustle. And I also adopted this attitude and approach from my brother. I didn't know how to rest. Also, I was really like kind of uneasy at times. But yeah, I was obviously we learned by watching and by behaving the same way. So I just saw him. He was just like chill, like just go and have a coffee. Like, why do you care? Whatever, right? And I was like,
That's nice.
how can you be like this? And then I adopted it. And I was like, it's amazing. I actually don't care. Like, if I really feel like I'm gonna watch a movie, I'm gonna watch a movie, and I don't give 2 fucks. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna worry. I'm
No,
not
and
gonna.
I am totally different from the two of you because what I make to-do lists, but I just write everything I have to do. I don't think about it. Like I don't think about priorities if it's big or small. Like I would have an Instagram post next to the monthly report.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't care. I would just write them all down and then my brain kind of turns off and I play some music or I watch Netflix on my TV. I work on my laptop and I just do what I have to do. I cross it down. It's like automatic, like really. And before I know it, I'm done. So like you said, what I thought would take me the whole day and I don't have time and whatever, I'm just like done in 1 hour. I have it everything ticked off and then that's it. So like I'm not really giving, like I know why you do it. But for me it's like
Do you do it? Do you actually like prioritize? It's just the thing that you know, but you don't.
No,
Oh,
no,
I thought you do
I
it.
don't do
Okay.
it.
Oh,
I've
I thought
heard
you
about
do it.
And
Okay,
well,
no.
I have done it before, like one time in my life, but I don't do it like
No,
on
I'm
a
like
regular
some, okay,
thing.
I'm like
Yeah.
some kind of
But
robot.
I do think it's helpful. And for example, if someone is struggling with defining the things that they should be working on, I think that's what they should do first. Because I agree with you that it's a hustle, right? But once you have like you write everything
No, but
down,
it's also a system, sure.
half of the job is done, right?
Yeah.
Because it's visible to you. You've already written it down. It's gonna be so much easier. So if like you are a person who needs it, I really do recommend it. And then after you do it like once, twice, or like 3 times,
Yeah.
you're not gonna do it anymore.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
for sure. It's a good system to start with, and if somebody's struggling with that, certainly it's a good way to approach the whole thing.
Yeah, but we kind of got lost. What was the
Overload.
Overload.
So
yeah, yeah.
then we went
we are
to
still within
overwhelming.
we are
Yeah.
still
Yeah,
within
yeah.
the
But let's
frames.
move on to number 9, which
Yes.
is
Okay, so it's comparing them to others. Make them constantly compare themselves to people who seem to be more successful or further along in life, making them feel inadequate and like they'll never measure up.
That's also the self-esteem. That's also the confidence and also the self-doubt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think the keyword here was seem. Make it seem
Make it
like
seem.
they are behind.
Correct.
Seem like we spoke about it. Like what do we compare ourselves to? Like people on Instagram, people on Facebook, people
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, people that show something, that create, not consume. But when
Yeah.
they create, they want to show the best side of themselves. So they show you the successes. I feel like it's like it's a thing that we touched on multiple times, but the word seem is very loud for me. Make
Yeah.
it seem like.
And you also take away power from you. Like if you put yourself next to people and you're like, oh, I'm worse than this person, worse than
Yeah.
that. Why? Like you're no.
Yeah.
Like why would you do that? That's so counterproductive. It doesn't
you're
help you in
different.
any way. You're completely different. You're a completely different being, and like not different being, but a different human. So it takes away your power. Why would you do that? It doesn't work in your favor. So just don't do things that don't work in your favor as well. Why would you?
Yeah, and
What's the point?
and I agree with that, but I feel like when people are at this point in their life, when they're like so confused or they're like have been comparing themselves to other people for so long, right? Obviously, everyone has their own path, their own journey, their own time, but sometimes you just are behind,
Yeah.
What this guy, jak się nazywał ten ziomek, co miał tą książkę, co jest takie silne, co wygrał ten wyścig drugi? Taki łysy.
David Goggins.
Yes, okay. Cut. So what David Goggins said is that, for example, if someone calls you fat, right? Maybe you are just fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it just works like that.
Yeah.
So if you think you are behind, maybe you just are behind,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's like kind of a tough love, but sometimes without it, like you're not gonna move on with your life, because obviously everyone is worthy, everyone is good, right? Good enough. But then also we can, like, if we really want to improve ourselves, we cannot keep making excuses for ourselves, and we just kind of have to see things for what they are.
Yeah, and you can accept yourself for who you are now in terms of like if you want to achieve something and you're like, yeah, I'm okay now. Like, no, like just so many things you need to learn. You're not okay, right?
Yeah.
But then, being behind doesn't mean you're incapable of getting ahead.
Exactly.
You just have
the
to,
thing.
I think our dad said it to me when I just have this flashback. We were younger, and he had this friend that had a lot of money. He could buy everything for his family that he wanted, and we could just get less, but we still get a lot. And then I asked my dad, how is it that, this guy drives this car and he gets, all of the clothes that he wants and everything. And my dad just said, because he is running and I am walking. He's running, I am walking. That's all it is. Like, you have to run, but then like finishing the story of like this running didn't get him to a good place, so that's another thing that we have to sometimes think, that if our running for our marathons, our trying to like be the first ones, be ahead, does it really lead us to the place we want to be, or does it like speed up the process, but then we end up in a place that we end up because we're not informed enough, or we didn't make good decisions, or we didn't think it through, because we just sprinted.
Yeah, obviously everyone has their own time, right? And for example, just because the sunset is beautiful doesn't mean that the flower isn't beautiful as well. You guys know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can be good enough, but I also remember something you've said before, that if someone is sad and then someone tells them, oh, like, you're good enough, like everything is good, like, no, not like nothing is good, like, I'm miserable, right? I need something to change.
Yeah.
So hearing that, like, you're just good enough, well, no, I'm not, so why am I miserable? So sometimes we have to just see things for what they are. So maybe
100%.
if
100%.
You know what? It brings us like super smoothly to point 10, because it's avoidance of responsibility. So encourage them to blame external factors or other people for their struggles, making it easier. It died. Making it easier to avoid accountability and stay stuck in a cycle of helplessness.
Yeah, learned helplessness is
Again,
one of the phenomena in psychology.
And avoidance of responsibility.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one from today, I think, for me. Like, take responsibility for what you've done, what you didn't done, what mistakes you made, what failures you had.
Yes, it
like,
might have not been up to you or your fault, but you need to take responsibility.
And then, I'm always amazed at people, like, how well they take the responsibility for the successes. For the things that worked out for them. Yeah, it worked out for me. I'm the great one. But then when they failed or they messed up or something was, a bad idea, a bad thing, they're like, yeah, that wasn't my idea.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, like, oh, you know what? I was just helping them out. Like, it wasn't mine. Or maybe, I told them they should have done it differently. They didn't listen.
Yeah, just like shut up at this point, like literally.
Like, just take responsibility. Like, you failed. That's it. You failed. You succeeded. You failed.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing in the middle. Like, you made the right decision or you did not make the right decision. Like,
and then once again, you made the decision with what you knew at the time.
Okay, but then
so
you're judging from the point today.
Yeah.
So today, looking, from the perspective of today, I made a bad decision.
Yeah.
I fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
but then you wouldn't make it again, right?
Yeah, but I did that. Like, why the fuck do people blame? Like, I don't get it. Like, it's such a sign of weakness. Like, I hate it when I see people saying, oh yeah, I did it, it worked out for me, but then when something doesn't work out, they're saying, oh, that's not my fault. Like, so the success was not your fault as well.
It's not my fault because of X and Y and
like
Z
whatever. But okay, so if your failures are not your fault, then your successes are not your fault either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it? No, that's just.
It's
just
really
super annoying.
These
kind
like,
of people are so arrogant. Like, they're so like no.
And I'm not saying you have to, step on this pedestal and say I fucked up, but like, for yourself.
No, you should sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you should, of course, but I'm not saying be so extreme, but like literally just for yourself, for the people around you, for your team, for people you work with, for your friends, for your partner, whatever, just take the responsibility. Like, we expect that other people take responsibility for their action. And then why don't we do it ourselves?
Yes, and it's like this wrong cycle, because if we think that nothing that happens ever is because of us or our
Yeah.
fault or like whatever, and we don't take responsibility. Like we're gonna wake up in a couple of years and like we're gonna see that our life isn't ours, right?
Yeah. So then your successes aren't yours as well.
If your failures aren't your fault, then your
Exactly.
successes,
Then your successes are not your fault either.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, if a failure is not of your doing, then your success is not of your doing either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just so simple.
Yeah, definitely. Be
Crazy.
consequent, right? In that, like,
Yeah,
say
like-
A, said A, then say B, right? Like
Yeah,
this,
that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
where are you, 5 years old, to say that, you
100%.
know, it's my friends who stole the lollipop? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and it doesn't even make much of a difference, right? If you're gonna say, "Oh, that's your fault," right? Like
No,
it's
I
not gonna
think-
make people look at you and say, "Oh, like you're such a great businessman," because it's not your fault. Like
Yeah.
you still failed, you know. So own up to it.
Yeah, no, people who actually have a little bit something in their head, they look at you like you're an idiot. Like if you
Yeah,
say-
like you're an idiot. Like yeah.
If you say that it's his fault or their fault or it's my wife's fault, my kids like
Yeah,
okay,
but they
bro.
see it
Yeah.
clearly, it was your fault. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just makes you look less in
But
like
then, you know,
other people's
like this
eyes.
Mhm.
belief that people have is that, you know, you can't admit to your failures or to your mistakes because it makes you look weak, and it's so not true. Like it makes you it makes you look so much stronger when you're
Yeah.
able to say I fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
that's
is my
great.
fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
my
didn't
fault.
do it.
I messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even practiced it today. Patrick asked me. I was gonna go for nails yesterday, and you know I was supposed to go at 9, and then I woke up 9:30, and somebody asked me like, oh, you didn't make it, you know, and I'm like, no, I did not make it because I didn't get up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like those little things,
Yeah.
you know, just even in those little things, it's not like I didn't make it because there was no time. There was time, but I chose to sleep,
Yeah.
you know, instead of like going out, you know. So
Yeah, definitely.
so even in those little things, if we take the responsibility, it's so much easier to do it later, you know, to say, oh, I did not send it to you because I didn't have time, or I forgot, you know, or I didn't manage my time well, you know, so I couldn't like get it done,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry. Like, you know, that's all it is.
Yeah, that's so true. And we, as you're saying, we should practice it on the minor things. So then, when the like main things come up, like we're comfortable with doing that.
So many things are also like socially implied and socially accepted, and it's almost like it has to be that way. So it's one of the maybe unexpected things that I took, and maybe you're gonna laugh, but it's I watched this interview with Krzysztof Ibisz. Maybe you know Krzysztof
Yeah.
Ibisz. It's like a TV presenter, and yeah, one of my biggest takeaways, surprising ones though, but yeah, he said something very interesting. He said, I practice, like I really care of my spirit and my mood and how I feel. So like obviously in this country we have this culture like no, the weather, it's not even this country, it's everywhere. Like the weather is bad, oh I feel bad because of I have no energy, the rain, you know, look around, it's
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah,
How
yeah.
am I supposed to feel like look outside? And it's like to me it doesn't matter. It can be sunny, can be snow, -20, rain, I feel good. I don't care. And I don't know, I heard it and something in my mind like clicked. I was like, interesting. And is that even true? Like obviously we can say that weather can affect you maybe to some extent, but I don't know, when I heard it I started practicing it, and yeah, you actually can choose how you feel. Like if the weather is bad, it's a great excuse to feel bad then, right? If the weather is, you know, if it's raining and it's windy, it's a great excuse to be tired, have low energy because look outside, great, right? But then like ultimately you chose to live in this place, didn't you? Like you made, obviously, you know, we're born in Poland. You don't have to live in Poland, do you? Like you can move, right? It's the ultimate, like Tom Bill, you talk about it. Maybe it's, again, it's like next step or whatever, next level. Same with the word tired, same with the word, like tired or bad mood. Like it's your responsibility to feel this way. If you want to be tired, great. Does it work in your favor? I mean, doesn't work in mine, so I decided not to do it, you know, not to say that to myself. Same with like, weather conditions, whatever. I try to avoid those kind of negative self-talk. Oh, look at the weather, I can't do anything. Like,
Yeah, and it's
useless.
amazing. It's amazing.
It's wasting your time, man.
It's so eye-opening that we learn that we can actually, you know, dictate how we feel. We can
Yeah.
choose how we feel.
Yeah, but
Because
it's
we've
just-
been thought that it's not up to us.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
like
but
it's a
it
small
is.
thing, you know, like another person just opening your eyes to it. Because I didn't it was like kind of learned, like something that you take from your parents, from people who raise you, like, oh, the weather is bad, I feel bad, I feel this, I feel that, like, and then you kind of adapt it and you start acting like it and you feel it's normal, like it's normal, right? And people see each other and it's so, well, it's not surprising, but it's crazy that you actually, you talk to your colleagues at work, whatever, and they're like, and it's like, oh my days, like I'm so glad I'm not part of it anymore. Really am.
Yeah.
It brought you to number 11, read 11, because I feel like you've been kind of
yeah.
talking about it.
I love how smooth the transitions are between our points. Manipulate their emotions. Number 11 is manipulate their emotions, play on their insecurities and emotions to keep them in a state of stress, guilt, and frustration. Emotional turmoil can make it hard to think clearly and make positive decisions. Yeah, so like when you feel tired, frustrated, angry, you're not gonna make a good decision most of the time. Sometimes, maybe, like in very specific conditions, but we talk about exceptions here. But most of the time, yeah, it ain't gonna work in your favor. So emotional turmoil, all the emotional distresses and stressors, and it just puts you in a constant state of uneasiness and alertness, and it ain't good, man. Ain't good.
Yeah, I think I posted it on my Instagram story, and it was like, oh, you wonder why you feel bad, right? Or why you are miserable or depressed or whatever. And there's like a picture of fast food, of like heavily processed foods, a picture of social media, of like scrolling, with no end. There was a picture with unregulated sleep schedule and everything. There was a picture of not going outside, right? And then like we're surprised why we feel like
Avoid
crap.
the
Well, yeah.
tapping.
And then we're surprised why we feel like crap, right? But it's just our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said,
100%.
we can choose our lifestyle and we can choose what we do. It's just we have to be conscious of it and make the decision. And first of all, to be able to do it, we have to find our why. Why do we want to feel good? Why do we want to be happy?
Correct.
Why do we want to work, right?
Yeah.
Why do we want to be in a good mood and not a bad mood? Because if we don't have our why, like you could as well just lay in bed all day.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah. If you don't have your reason, you don't have something, some like deep motivation, something that pushes you, or even maybe scares you or something, or just gives you that energy, momentum. Yeah,
Yes.
it'll be difficult.
Yes, Iman Gatsi said that if you don't want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, it's gonna be hard for you to succeed.
Yeah.
Like you have to really want it because other people want it more than you.
Yeah.
You know?
There's an interesting thing about being angry and stressed, and angry especially. I feel like now we live in the era where, like, we say, like, chill out. And obviously, I'm not saying to be angry all the time, but a little bit of anger and some edge. I discovered, like, I'm starting discovering now is important to, like, push you. So I'm reading this book, right? I told you like so many times, and I say it again. I can't recommend this book enough. Choose Your Enemies Wisely. I didn't know what it means, but now I kind of get better understanding of what it means. I listed all the things that when I think about, it just makes me angry. Like, taxes, or the government that manipulates us. There's like things when you tell me them, I was thinking, what are the things, but if mentioned in the conversation, I'm like, don't even get me started on this, bro. Don't even start. All good?
Yeah, she was asking about the video.
Oh yeah. So don't even get me started. And at least I was thinking about those things, and then, yeah, they exist. Like, I have so many, like, not so many, but I have things like that, right? So I listed them down, and I put them on my board. I placed them next to my like a bingo with
you've
goals,
done the
whatever.
bingo.
I did the bingo, not
Okay.
just for the year, but I guess it's a
Okay.
bigger picture. But right next to it is all the things that piss me off. Like, actually, I look at them and I'm actively like angry.
And that
Right?
is a perfect thing.
I think I don't know, like, it's so important because
Yeah.
like you shouldn't suppress those things. Actually, I think, because I don't know, there's the big notion you should like chill and make friends with those things. I don't know, go to a therapy and work it out. No, like, it makes you angry. It makes you angry. Well, sometimes maybe for a bad reason, depending on what it is. But I look deep into it, and this thing I will not. I don't want to change it. It doesn't. I don't want to like reframe it in my. No, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
It pisses me the fuck off.
Anger is such a powerful emotion.
so
yeah,
powerful,
and it
yeah.
drives you to do stuff. So you should be angry.
Yeah.
You know, like you should even replace sadness with anger. So like
Yeah.
whenever I am sad, upset about something, I try to look for something I can be pissed off at in the situation, really, because it's so much better to be angry and than sad or upset. And it gives you, it gives you like a bigger what can I do not to be that, not to be that angry at it. But then on the other side, like you say, keep being angry, on the other side, like keep being angry, because it gives you the power.
Yeah,
gives
a
you the
little bit
strength,
of
gives you the
edge. A
pace.
little bit of edge is
Yeah,
needed to
for
like achieve
sure.
some cool things, and also to like what's gonna make you get out of bed on those rainy, terrible, cold
Your anger
winter
attacks.
days, right? It's just anything that it's just one of the things. There's a couple of things.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
know.
one of examples, They also say in psychology, I think they say that anger is just a cover for sadness, but it doesn't matter. It causes negative emotion, right? So negative emotion just can be a fuel.
Yeah,
So just
I think
this is a
is.
fuel. It's a fuel. So it's
I think
the
it's
things.
anger that's fuel rather than sadness.
Yeah,
being
100%. I don't
fuel.
also think that anger always is a cover for sadness. I think
Me
anger is a
neither.
separate emotion, and sometimes you just feel anger, and
And
it's cool.
it's like classified as a negative emotion, but I'm not sure if it should be. It should be classified as a strong emotion,
Yeah.
maybe, but I don't know if it's negative. Like,
I mean, there's actually no such thing as like negative. People
yeah,
classify
because that's
it
what
wrong.
we, that's
yeah,
what we're saying.
incorrectly.
Negative and positive emotions. Like, is it? It's just emotion.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It signals something,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's super powerful, and I'm working with it now.
In
with this
Chinese
anger.
medicine, there's this concept that you have a table and table has 4 legs. Yeah, so there's happiness, there is this anxiety/fear, there is this anger, and there is something else.
Sadness?
I think what?
Sadness.
Yes, and there is sadness, and you
Okay.
need those 4 emotions because the table needs 4 legs. Like it has to be stabilized. You take away one of the emotions, like the table falls.
Yeah.
Like the weighting scale. So it really, and they're always saying that you need the balance. Yeah, those emotions need to balance each other. So
Yeah.
anger with the sadness, it's on the opposite side, and then happiness is on the opposite side of anxiety/fear. So they're supposed to be balancing each other. Because when one fails, like look, when the leg of happiness falls, like it breaks, so then the table falls on this corner. Yeah, so then
There's
your
no
fear,
balance anymore.
yeah, then anxiety and fear are at the top. So that's what you're feeling because you don't have the leg to stand on for the happiness.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
and then
how
the
you can
same with
actually
anger
picture
and
it.
sadness. The same with anger and sadness. They're on opposite sides, the diagonal, to each other. So then when like anger breaks down, the leg for anger, then sadness like skyrockets.
I know. It's so like you can picture it very well.
yeah.
And your
It's
head.
really
I
cool.
love
Yeah.
that.
So it's
It's really
happiness,
cool.
anger, happiness, anger, anxiety, fear, and then
That's very nice.
Yeah.
But I also have to disagree with you guys. I think sadness is what fuels us, actually, because I feel like sometimes you have to be so sad and so miserable, but that you just like tell yourself, okay, that's enough. That's enough. I'm not feeling that way anymore. I'm making a decision to not feel that way anymore. And because of the decision, because you were in such a bad place, you were so sad, right? That you decide not to feel like this anymore. Just because if you didn't, I don't know what would happen. So I think that's what fuels you more than being angry, for example, at something. Because I feel like
I think you might be right. It depends on the person.
Maybe depends on the person. Maybe
for me,
depends how you
sadness makes
frame
me
it
like
on
very sad.
Maybe it depends on your temperament as well,
Yeah.
right? Maybe that. But yeah, it's an interesting point for sure. Maybe some people will be sadness, for some people will be anger. Some people would argue that sadness is anger is just covered sadness, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Or-
it could be
yeah.
similar thing. But anyway, something that really drives you, gives you like I'm done with it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
That's what you said. Like you want to be done with it. Like you want to be
Yeah.
done. And that's
Yes.
it. Finished.
Yeah.
Like with
That's
whatever.
enough.
Like I'm
That's
finished.
enough,
You
yeah.
know I'm done.
Yeah, but it comes down to that statement. Like I'm done dealing with these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I'm done. Let's
I'm
yeah.
done. Yeah, but it's important to put a period after I am done. Like
Yeah.
because I
Yes.
feel like I am done without this period of like taking action and doing stuff. It's
Yeah.
just like empty words. But then when you actually put that period at the end of the sentence, then you're actually done.
Yes, but it's also important to feel those emotions, to feel every emotion that comes your way, because if you don't feel them, they just stay in your body,
Yeah.
and then they show up in like a headache and like back pain or whatever, and it's like unprocessed emotions.
Yeah.
You have to heal. If you're sad, if you're angry, like, right, let yourself be sad for like 2 days, and then that's enough.
Yeah.
I'm not sad anymore, right?
Correct.
Oh.
But it's important to feel the emotions so that you don't end up miserable.
Yeah, now I feel like it's a good thing that you talk about this, and we all talk about it, because now we live in an era where when you show emotion or any kind of emotion, you're seen as like a weirdo, or you should go to a therapy, bro. You don't control your anger, or do this, do that. Or there are some situations where some people should go to the therapy actually, but it's too extreme. Like sometimes you're a human being. You are emotion. There's so much emotion within us, so we have to acknowledge it and. Yeah, direct it somewhere,
And just
have to be
express
done.
it,
Express it, 100%.
But to be able to kind of know when we can when
and
to
what
do
way,
that.
how to do
yeah.
it, 100%.
And,
Yeah.
but so like I feel like controlling your emotions doesn't mean that you keep them in yourself and you don't cry, you don't yell, you don't destroy, like throw things at something. Like that's what people do.
Yeah.
Like
Sometimes you just have to destroy something.
that's what people do. But I think like controlling emotion doesn't mean that you don't do that. It's just that you manage how, when you do that. So then because you have to do it, like you have to go cry, you have to go throw something at something, like you have to yell, you have to do stuff, because otherwise, like, what are you doing?
Yes,
But maybe let's just try not to do it in front of everybody, or like, break down, but you know what I mean, Just try to manage how, when, and where.
Yeah, what I find really interesting as well is that these strong, let's say, negative emotions, like sadness,
They
or
can't be
fear,
negative.
So like these strong emotions like sadness, fear, anger, this is what makes people successful, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Whenever you hear the stories of success, there has always been like misery, sadness, no money for nothing, fear of tomorrow. And then you say, enough is enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm deciding not to feel that way ever again.
Yeah.
And then you just not.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ja zarządzam bathroom break.
Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
we're gonna go to the bathroom and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, we are back from our little break.
Okay, so we've
what's
got
next?
number 12, promote short-term gratification, keep them chasing fleeting pleasures or rewards like instant gratification so that they can neglect long-term goals. And the hard work required for success.
Yeah.
Yeah, requires.
And the hard work required for success.
Okay. 12. Promote short-term gratification. Keep them chasing fleeting pleasures or rewards like instant gratification so that they can neglect long-term goals and the hard work required for success. So give them small gratifications, little, so they neglect the long-term goals.
Yeah.
So they don't have a bigger picture.
And also the short-term gratifications rather than long-term. So there was this interesting experiment they did in like kindergarten on kids. It was very interesting. So you had the kids. They brought the kids, one kid individually, to the room with an examiner or whoever, and they gave them marshmallows, right? And they said, okay, so now you can have one marshmallow now, or 2 or 3 marshmallow in 15 minutes. What do you choose? And it was very interesting because like years later they checked, so the kids who decided to take a marshmallow right away did much worse in life than the people who decided to postpone that marshmallow, wait for like 3 marshmallows in 15 or 20 minutes. They were doing much better in life because they were able to again postpone and delay that gratification.
And look at the bigger picture. I think that's what we're struggling with. We
Like
see something that's in
patience.
front of our eyes, and then we see something that's like, I don't know, farther away, but we don't think we're gonna get there, or we don't have the patience to wait for when we're gonna get there. So you would just take, the small win instead of just, working towards the big one, because what if it never comes?
Yeah.
What if, it's the doubt here, So like, what if I don't make it there? So then you would just rather, take what's like what's in front of you, instead of just, having the patience to wait for the marshmallows, because then you might have a whole pack and not just one marshmallow, know. And sometimes the wait is not even that long, Sometimes the wait is not like the lifetime of wait, Sometimes it's just a little bit more work, a little bit more of like sacrifice, commitment and stuff, And I feel like that's how people sabotage themselves as well. That they, focus on those little things. Because, from other sides in business, there's this saying that it's good to give people incentives, little incentives, that then then they get a reward after they've completed that, just so it keeps up their motivation in achieving bigger goals. No, so like it kind of contradicts what they said here.
Yeah, it's the incentive slash
But-
rewards for people, you know.
But then still, I feel like those incentives are not needed for everybody, because there are people who are driven by those incentives. And from my experience, I know there are people who are insulted by them. They're like, yeah, I want this big goal. Like, what are you giving me? Like, what if I do like 10% of it, I get something like little small that doesn't really matter to me?
Yeah.
Like, why would you? I'm capable of achieving the big goal. Whereas some other people are like, they see the big goal, they say they want to achieve it, but they doubt themselves that they can. So they would take those little incentives and those little gifts that are worth so much less, and just be okay with it because they got at least something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm struggling with gratification. Like I've seen a podcast. The guy said we are not biologically wired for like delaying gratification. Like it's not natural for us, you know. And I'm also thinking what it is. What is short-term gratification? What is long-term gratification? Like, is for example, I don't know, like weed or alcohol, is that the short-term gratification, like where somebody decides, in the evening at the end of the week, like, okay, now I'm gonna reward myself, versus I'm gonna work my ass off for another 2 years and then I'm gonna reward myself something? Is that
I think
gratifications that we talk about, or?
that's what I was talking about.
I think
But then when you mentioned it, I think we can talk about different types of gratification,
Yeah.
because we can talk about those in terms of careers and like building our lives, and then on the other side we can think of them as like everyday things, that if you take this Netflix break after half of the work that you had to do, or after, I don't know, a week of work, like, you know what I mean? Like, how, I don't know, yeah.
I don't know. I'm a strong believer that you should like make your life pleasurable, right? So if you, for example, want that ice cream right now, I don't see why you should eat that ice cream after a long week of work, but that's just me. But also I think the gratification that has like negative effect on us is, for example, let's say that you've done like one post, right, on Instagram, and everyone, let's say at the office, would say, oh, like, you're so great, you've done it, like you're so great. So this like short-term gratification might keep you from working harder on those, let's say, Instagram posts.
So
You
that
know?
quick reward or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's quick, maybe not even a reward, but the gratification from other people.
The
Okay.
appreciation as well.
Uznanie.
Appreciation.
Yeah,
Appreciation.
appreciation. Yeah, I think that's what keeps people
Okay.
from doing more, from achieving more.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this one, so I definitely need to look more into it and see what are like biology of that, psychology of gratification. I'd love to know more about it. If you guys know more, please educate me. Tell me something in the comments. Love to know.
Yeah, for sure. Next one.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Yeah,
Okay.
I could
Number
do it.
13. Create false beliefs about success. Convince them that success should come easily, quickly, and without struggle, when it's inevitably not meant that way. They'll feel discouraged and ultimately quit. So just false beliefs around success, that it should be easy, it shouldn't be no problem. I think now maybe even in social media now, in the era of social media, it's easy for young people and kids to believe, it's just you need to do like 5 posts a day, and no, that's great, that's easy, right? And there's all the things they don't tell you about in that YouTube video, right? As we found out, for example, starting a podcast, it's easy to start to do anything for sure, but then if you really wanna, improve, upgrade, it takes money and it takes effort.
Yes, but look, if they put all of these little things in the video, like, people would not start. Like, let's say this
100%,
podcast,
100%.
right?
And also everything looks easier. Even I watch podcasts. You need to only buy lamps, the umbrellas, the this. And then, I watched it. I was like, that's not that much. And it wasn't. It wasn't crazy. But we went through it, so it's different. Right now we
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah,
something like
and
that.
I think that's why all of the businesses, recruitment companies and stuff, they need social proof, of why the business works, because I think that's the trap that people get like locked into is that whenever they go somewhere, they tell you like how great it is, like how successful you're gonna be. Like you just have to do that, and that, then you're promoted to that position, you're making that much money, and then then you get that or whatever. Like at 9 to 5 jobs. But then that's why people need social proof. So like a person who's done it and who's actually been promoted and who's actually gotten the money, to be able to tell you that it's true or that it's not true. And most of the times they won't tell you that it's super easy and that I've just done it in like a year and that's it. So I think we do it sometimes, especially successful people. I think they do it. Some of them don't, but some of them maybe not undermine, but they say that success is easy. But you know why? I think it's because their mindset is so changed. Their head works in a different way that for them, like now in the position they are right now, being successful, it's easy. Like they know what to do, so it's simple. Maybe not easy, but simple. They know the blueprint, so they could give you the instruction. But will you follow it well enough? Will you follow it on the level that they did? I don't believe we will.
Yeah.
But so I think like it depends on the point, like where you're standing at, and where you're
100%.
looking from, and your perception, your own perception on the topic. And your own lens. We spoke about that at Finance Week as well.
Yeah.
So the lens that you have.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Anything to add?
No.
Okay.
No,
Number 14.
Inconsistent efforts. Nice. Push them to work sporadically.
Look at me.
It's a little message there, maybe.
I know. I will post in TikTok.
Inconsistent efforts. Push them to work sporadically and inconsistently, never giving them discipline needed to make steady progress. This keeps them in a state of perpetual start and stop.
Yes, and I think it's important. I had this conversation with my friend the other day. He said he feels, he feels bad about just constantly starting from zero. Like you come and you start and you do something and it doesn't work out and you start, and then he does something and it actually worked out, but he still needs to start over. So it can be frustrating, definitely. But yeah, it comes to the inconsistent effort is crazy. Like we obviously have this thing, consistency, right? One of the things for success, consistency, doing things just regularly. And people think like consistency means, I saw this really cool visuals, like you had like those like a glass with salt, and like the salt every day was the same, and it wasn't consistency. It was just a little bit here, a little bit more there, a little bit, but it was always something, like always something in those things, rather than a huge spike of motivation or inspiration or whatever after some training workshop. You're doing things for 1 week and then you're not doing anything for another 2 weeks, right?
In like personal development / growth trainings, there is this thing that your customer, if you've had a customer for a motivational / inspirational training now, it's 85% of probability that they will come back in 3 months.
Yeah.
Because the span of your training working for them in their brains, or them working on what they've learned from you, is about 3 months. And after 3 months, they feel like, oh, I need it again. And they will even come to the same one that they've been to, 3 months ago, just because they couldn't keep it up. They couldn't. And, it's this false motivation, because it's a motivation without why. Your why is because I've been on the training. You went there for some reason, but then you went there, you got some information that you needed. And then what did you do with it? Like you were on this high, I don't know, high whatever.
Yeah.
That you were so hyped about it because the guy was hyped and everybody in the room was hyped and the music was very good and the energy was very high and everything was great. And then after 3 months, like you come back to the same place for the same strike of dopamine. I think it's about dopamine as well. The motivation, inspiration, and dopamine. Like you get that, you go on, it wears off, you have to come back.
Yeah.
That's why it's a good business, to like motivate, inspire people without teaching them how to, keep it on, Because I think a lot of people do that, There is a lot of workshops or like speeches that are designed to do that, to motivate you, but not to really teach you the techniques on how to stay motivated after you.
Right.
After this dopamine wears off or this hype wears off or the music and stuff.
Yeah, so it's not about being motivated, it's about being disciplined.
100%.
Right?
I wrote this, one of the first things I've learned in like London when I lived there, and I started my journey of self-improvement or whatever, and one of the things I learned was discipline over motivation, and it was huge. But it's so difficult as well, I think.
It's
like
difficult.
to stay consistent with your stuff, it's super difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult because motivation feels nice,
Yeah.
and then discipline doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And discipline comes down to I think, habits. So one of the biggest things that help me, and I think can help anyone with, like, if they struggle with discipline, is just being physically active. Like, it's not about the gym to look great or to, whatever, but it's about, we have biological experience. So if you, like, wire yourself correctly biologically, it will influence everything else. And it also gives you, I'm super glad that when I was a kid, and when I was in secondary school, I went to this sports class, and we were just, playing sports, like, 10 hours a week. And then, like, sport really gave me a lot of structure and discipline in my life. That's what I'm trying to say. That's my point. And I think it's one of the greatest things that a young person can do to themselves. It's not about if you like it or not. Like, as I told you, like, most of the time, 90% of the time, even more, I don't like going to the gym. I really don't like it. But it just, it sets me in the right mental position, and it sets me right mentally. So that's why I do it. And it's also a habit that I've acquired over the years, so it's just a habit. It has to be done. I know it has to be done. I know how positive it works for me. Plus, I know if I don't stress now, I don't stress my body, I don't put my body through stress, I will be put through stress by life. Like, life will make me ill or sick or whatever. So I'd rather do it myself than require and then make somebody else do it, or life do it for me. But yeah, it's just one of the best things that a young person can do to their discipline is implement some sports in your life, like regular sports, like little run here and there, bicycle, whatever it is. Yeah, it really helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Is there more?
There's one
Oh,
more,
there's
because that
one
was
more.
number 14. So now we have 15. My turn, I think, is it? It is my turn, yeah. So number 15 is undermine their confidence. Make them feel like they're always in the wrong place at the wrong time, and convince them that opportunities are for others and not them. So that, I think, comes back to, like, self-sabotage,
Yeah.
and it's
To
a nice
everything that
wrap.
we-
It's a
yeah.
kind of wrap to everything, right? But yeah, just undermine their confidence. You're not good enough. You don't have skills,
You
and
can't do it.
you're in
You're
the
incapable.
wrong place at the
Yeah.
wrong time. It's not gonna work out for you, and just be negative,
Yeah.
in that sense. Not even realistic, because it's not realism. It's just being negatively thinking about yourself. What's the point?
Yeah, what I find very disturbing is that when people have like learned to be so negative about themselves, right? To not love themselves, to not accept themselves, they actually think it's true in their mind,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's the worst part.
That's
They're
it.
actually convinced it's the truth
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they cannot do anything.
Yeah.
It's not for them, right? So that's, I think, the hardest thing to overcome when you want to change your mindset, change your life. You know, it's that you actually believe that.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think, knowing that your own mind is sabotaging you all the time. I think that's because that's what your mind does to you.
Yeah.
Like, it either you let it or you don't, but that's what it wants to do. And it was the default mode that we were born with, that we
Yeah,
were raised with, that,
correct.
we're sabotaging ourselves because that's what we hear from the environment, So then once you're able to be, sorry. So once you're,
Because it's
so once you're able to be conscious about it and know it, and say, okay, that's what my mind's doing to me. I do not agree with that. Or there is, like, I don't want it to happen. So then you can kind of change the narrative. But until you don't, then, it's just your own mind that's sabotaging you all the time.
No, it's important for people to know there is a negativity bias in our head. Like, it's an actual psychological phenomena. Like, we are designed, our brain is created in the way so that we think about negative stuff. And I'm laughing because Yulka, I think, is trying to sneeze again. And if you're trying to sneeze, turn off your mic, please. Yeah, it's just, as you said, your brain will push you and directs you towards the negative things automatically, right? Because it's easier for us to detect threats rather than opportunities.
And it's safer.
And it's safer,
because if you're thinking about negative things on the default, then you won't be disappointed. You might be pleasantly surprised. But when you're being positive about something and then something doesn't work out, you're disappointed.
Yeah.
And your brain doesn't want you to feel disappointed.
Yeah.
And I also think we get really comfortable in that space of not doing or not believing is just our comfort space, right? So what I could compare it to, I've also heard this comparison, and I think it's super good, super accurate, is the story of Sisyphus, right? So Sisyphus was like condemned, and he was supposed to push the rock up
Yeah.
the hill,
Yeah.
but then at the top it would always fall down.
Yeah.
Right? So what this guy said was that because we get so comfortable with our own thoughts and with our own misery, is that if the Sisyphus one day, right, was given the opportunity to actually pull the rock, over the hill, he probably wouldn't do it. Because he would be scared. It would be something he doesn't know. And then pushing the rock over and over again is his comfort space. It's comfortable for him. It's all he knows.
Because it's predictable.
It's also predictable, right? So he said, well, I think Sisyphus wouldn't, push the rock over it. And I think it's super powerful.
It is.
And it's super interesting that sometimes we just, we feel bad for our own for our own wish, right? It's our own doing.
Correct. Like
Yeah,
some time
it's
ago,
crazy.
I think 2 years ago, it just came to me, and every few months I ask myself, what is my bubble now, right? What is my bubble? What is my mental bubble? What is my thinking bubble? What is my music bubble even? Like I listen constantly to the same stuff. Like now I became aware of it, but I was just, again, I was unhappy. I was like frustrated, and I was like, okay, so how should I approach this? Like, okay, so first of all, we all live in our small little bubble of friends, of thoughts, of behaviors, of beliefs, of spaces, of course, and everything is all the time the same. So like you need to, because we get used to things so quickly, like we adjust so quickly, and it's one of our strengths and as well weaknesses, I think. And yeah, I just ask myself this, like I think it's a very powerful question. I just try to like slow down and ask myself, okay, so what is my bubble right now? What is my bubble? Friends, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, behaviors, music, movies. Yeah, because I even like I'm an open person in terms of like my personality. I'm open to new experiences, but I still fall into the default. I still fall into the bubble. I have my little bubble, and I feel so comfortable in it. But yeah, it's kind of like, what is it? What's in it? And does it work in my favor?
I mean, if your bubble works in your favor, I don't see any reason to to change it.
Sure.
Unless you're in the same bubble for too long.
Yeah.
Because then you need to change.
Correct.
It's like such a great bubble.
But I think it's another podcast of like, changing your bubbles and doing all of that stuff, constant change that it's,
And maybe you can just change some things and not
or
all
just
the
something,
things.
exactly. Like maybe not throw the whole of the bubble away, but
Yeah.
maybe just, like change the color, like, one of the things that are inside of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So guys, if you were like supposed to make sure like a person is not gonna be successful, what's one thing you would like make them do?
I would make them tired. I would make them tired all the time and make them think like they wake up, I'm tired. I can go to the gym because I would make them believe that they can be tired. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would set them for not taking responsibility for what they've done or what they didn't do.
Okay.
I think that's the biggest deal breaker, because I think that's where the work starts. Either starts or it doesn't. Like, what would you do?
I would make them keep making valid excuses on why they can't do something. So that the excuses would just come and they all would be valid.
Yeah.
And they would not do anything.
Nice. Little devils we are. Very nice.
I have one more thing.
Yeah.
And I think what else I would do is I would be this little voice in their head telling them to overthink everything, telling them that they can do it. And this voice that sometimes when something good happens to you, you're thinking, oh, was it by mistake? Or what's the negative repercussions of it might be? Like, or what might happen now? Like, if it's been good so far, then what's gonna like go down, So I would be this other voice that, that's sabotaging them, that's like telling them you can't do it. That's, being so negative. And like you said, negatively biased. Yeah, that's what you said?
Negatively biased.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. Yeah, I would also like speak to them and see if they can control what their head is telling them, what their mind is telling them.
Yeah.
Because it's the most powerful friend, but it's also the most powerful enemy. and we don't
Uh-huh.
want them to be, you don't want your mind to be your enemy because
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be friends with it.
yes,
Yeah, like biggest
Yes.
allies.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then.
Well.
Beautiful.
I
I'd
guess,
I'd like to just give a shout out and give credit for this episode to Bedros Kulian actually, because I took all those notes from his episode. Bedros Kulian, thank you so much, bro. I hope to see you on our podcast soon. And yeah, for all of you guys, let us know in the comments, right? What would you do if you were a Satan and you wanted to make somebody unsuccessful? What are your thoughts? And yeah,
Yeah.
find us on social media on your.why.
Yeah, and like think if this Satan is working like on your life right now, and
Exactly.
if there's anything you can change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
That's it. See you soon.
See you soon, kids. Bye bye.